Namaste and welcome to this short little video about downward facing dog Adho Mukha Svanasana. And this video is made as an invitation to play a bit around your downward facing dog. There are many ways to guide a downward facing dog. It's one of the most used poses when it comes to the more dynamic practice of yoga. So my idea with showing you this video and this invitation to play around your downward facing dog is to see if you can create a more healthy downward facing dog. Healthy in the way that it's so we're really working with the body in instead of some of the ways that downward facing dog is often told. So by nature, the spine is supposed to have a lower back curve and a bit of a curve in the neck as well. So when we practice yoga, our aim is to find into this natural position of the spine. And that includes downward facing dog. And how I did my downward facing dog for many years and how I was taught to do my downward facing dog was with a short distance of the feet, and I was told to push my heels to the floor and push my upper body towards the thighs. So for a lot of people, especially for the ones of you with tight hamstrings, so the tight back of the legs, when we try to force the heels to the floor in downward facing dog, there happens a lower of compensation. So if we're tight somewhere in the body, we'll be most likely to compensate somewhere else. So if we have tight hamstrings, as a lot of people do, when we try to force the heels, so when we're in downward facing dog and we try to force the heels to the floor, what will happen if my legs are tight? We'll begin to round in the lower back. And with rounding lower back, trying to push the upper body towards the thighs will first of all create like the lower back is compensating, and we are putting our shoulders in a very uncomfortable position as well. So this downward facing dog that I want to show you to play around a bit is a more curvy downward facing dog, where we try to focus on making the lower back active. We really try to work with the shoulders. So what I also see a lot in downward facing dog is people moving the elbows really out to the side, which is coming from the instruction of avoid overextending the elbow joint. But what happens when we move the elbows out to the side, we take the shoulder blade with us, we roll the shoulders in. Where I would like you to be is to be with the shoulders to the back of the body. So we take the arms, so they are, shoulders are moving back, inside of the upper arms are moving up or forward, the inside, so the forearm and the hands are pressing in. So we create these spirals in the body where one part of the body is moving in one direction, the other part of the body is moving in the opposite. So we create more foundation for the shoulders, we activate in between the shoulder blades rather than the trapezius. Okay. So just for testing the arms, extend your arms in front of you, spread your fingers. Now I'd like you to take and roll the inside of the upper arms up towards sky. And while you do that, move the shoulder blades more to the back of the body. Hold that, and now your fingers will probably be out to the side, and then move your fingers in so the index fingers are parallel. Keep the inside of the upper arms going upward, and then try to have the feeling of squeezing the hands a bit in towards each other. Good. So that's the feeling we want to feel in downward facing dog. So just come forward into an all forward position. Step your hands a hand further forward than what you normally do in your all forward position. Flex the feet, and then I like you to find this juicy cow position where you're really like arching the spine, and you can overdo it for now. Roll the inside of the upper arms forward, and you may overextend your elbows. Just keep that for now. Spread the fingers wide. Keep rolling the inside of the upper arms forward, and then press the hands in towards each other and create a slight bend in the elbows. Flex the feet, really roll the tailbone up, and then we're going to lift the knees up and move the hip back and up. Good. Keep the knees bent, the heels lifted, and move the hip up. And then look down at your hands, press them firmly to the floor and in towards each other. Keep rolling the tailbone up, and then begin to move the navel just slightly in towards the spine. And then see how it feels when you begin to re-straightening the legs, maybe lower the heels a bit. If you start to round your spine, then bend the knees again and lift the heels. Keep pressing the hands down and in. And you can even play around by rolling the inner thighs a bit back and up. Okay. Maybe lower the heels. Come to the knees again and give your arms a bit of a shake. So we really try to make it a bit more curvy, exploring, having maybe even a longer distance. But I think traditionally, and a lot of people have a hands and knee distance, so when they come from all four, going directly into downward facing dog. Try to step your hands just slightly further forward to explore the feeling of creating a longer spine. Neck is relaxed. Let's try to move a few times in between all four position and downward facing dog, and I will cue you along the way, and I just want you to explore how it feels in your body moving that direction. So when we are in downward facing dog, I ask you to press your hands in towards each other. I like you to notice where you feel that, because when we are in downward facing dog, I'd like you to get a feeling of having the weight bearing or the strength coming from the back of your heart. So there's some muscles activating there, and that might be a new sensation if this is your first time hearing these instructions. But try to work your hands really in towards each other and keep moving the inside of the upper arms forward. Let's find an all four position. Place your hands again. Flex your feet and then step your hands one hand further forward. And really spread the fingers wide. Activate all 10 fingers to the floor. And to avoid having wrist pain, try to see if you can really move all of the body weight to the fingers. Roll the inside of the upper arms forward. Press the hands in towards each other and arch your spine just to begin with. Can you move the heart more forward and shoulders more to the back? Good. Flex the feet, take an inhale, and then exhale to lift the hip up. And see if you can keep your arms as they are really strong and active. Keep the knees bent, navel slightly in towards the spine. Good. And then maybe begin to re-straightening the legs, lower the heels. But as soon as you feel like the spine is rounding, I want you to bend the knees again. And see if you can get a feeling of separating the sit points. Navel slightly in. Good. Then we can come a bit forward to a plank position just to set the arms. Roll the inside of the arms forward. Press the hands down and in towards each other, and then move the hip back. Neck is relaxed. Navel is moving towards the spine and the tailbone is rolling up. May or may not lower the heels. Good. Come back and sit on the knees. Heel knees to the floor. So when you're in downward facing dog, I often see a tendency to really lower the arms down towards the floor. When I guide and when I do downward facing dog, I always ask people, can you lift your arms a bit so you have more strength and stability? So if you look at my downward facing dog, I don't try to lower my arms, I try to keep my arms strong. So almost as I'm lifting from my armpit up. So the arms are strong, hands are pressing in. Tailbone is lifting, so we don't overarch the lower back when we're in downward facing dog. There is a movement of the tailbone going up and the navel is going in. Rolling the inner thighs backward. The crown of the head is going downward. Arms are, so the ears are in between the upper arms. Just a note on the hands, I get this question a lot with the wrist pain coming from downward facing dog. If you're new to yoga, it might have been very, very long time since you last time put pressure on your hands in this way. So there might be some pain from not being strong enough around your wrist. But we're working it by really working actively with the hands. And we are pressing the entire hand and the entire fingers down towards the mat. Not only the fingertips, but all of the knuckles, all the way down to the big knuckles. And then we try to have the feeling of lifting the palm of the hand. So the root of the hand is still grounded, but we try to lift up in the center, almost as there was a coin or a piece of chocolate where we don't want to smush it. And then pressing the entire finger down. That will take the weight away from the wrist when we do downward facing dog. So there's a lot of things to think about when we do downward facing dog. And especially if you try to integrate this newer kind of downward facing dog into your practice, it will take time, because downward facing dog is often a habit we have a default version of our downward facing dog we do. So trying to integrate these new techniques and new ideas may take long, but slowly your body will begin to feel where it's supposed to be. This type of downward facing dog I'm showing you here is requiring you to put more effort into it, to use more strength, but it will make you stronger and it will make arm balancing, handstands, and all these postures easier for you to do. So let's just do it one last time for now, and then I hope you will be revisiting this video so you can get this into your practice. So all four position, cow pose, really arching the spine. So this is the cow position. Stepping your hands further forward, spreading your fingers, index fingers parallel. Pressing your hands firmly down and rolling the inside of the upper arms forward. Keep squeezing the hands in towards each other, moving the heart forward, flexing the feet, taking an inhalation, and then exhale, lift the knees, move the hip back and up to downward facing dog. For now, keep your knees bent, lift the hips high, press all of your fingers down, move the navel a bit in towards the spine, and then maybe begin to re-straightening the legs. Keep squeezing the hands in towards each other and roll the inside of the upper arms forward. Then press both your hands and the feet down and see if you can lift the hip a bit higher. Let's take a last inhalation here and then exhale. Lower the knees to the floor, heels to the hip, forehead to the floor. Child's pose, Balasana. And slowly lift up the upper body and come and sit on the heels. And just thank yourself for taking this new information in, and I hope you'll try to integrate it and try to play with your regular downward facing dog to keep it more dynamic and healthy for the body. I hope to see you soon at Nora, and I hope to practice with you again soon. Thank you for watching. Namaste.